Ramsey Campbell, the winner of an eye-watering number of literary, critical and fan awards, is a masterful modern writer who stands on the shoulders of giants with ease. Many have extolled the virtues of Ramsey's body of work over the years.
One of the all-time greats of British horror fiction, The Guardian.
One of the world's finest exponents of the classic British ghost story. His writing explores the potential for fear in the mundane, the barely heard footsteps, the shadow flitting past at the edge of one's sight. Daily Telegraph.
Campbell has mastered the art of generating a sense of sustained unease. He writes of our deepest fears in a precise, clear prose that somehow manages to be beautiful and terrifying at the same time. He is a powerful, original writer. The Washington Post.
He is unsurpassed in the subtle manipulation of mood. You forget you're just reading a story. Publishers Weekly.
Britain's greatest horror writer. Realistic, subtle and arcane. Waterstone's Guide to Books.
Ramsey Campbell has a talent for terror. He knows how to give you nightmares while you're still awake. Only a few writers can lay claim to such a consummate level of craftsmanship. Robert Bloch.
Ramsey Campbell is one of the modern masters of horror. He has a genius for infusing horror into the everyday, piling up small moments of dread and confusion and fear until they become insurmountable. Tim Pratt in Locus.
An absolute master of modern horror, and a damn fine writer at that. Guillermo del Toro.
Neil Gaiman said, "There are a few writers who are special. They make the world in their books, or rather they open a window, or a door, or a magic casement, and they show you the world in which they live." Ramsey Campbell, for example, writes stories that, read in quantity, will reform your world into a grey and ominous place, in which strange shapes flicker at the corner of your eyes, and a patch of smoke, or a blown plastic shopping bag takes on some kind of ghastly significance.
In Ramsey Campbell we feel a strong sense of writing in a tradition, inspired by the legacy of Lovecraft, M.R. James and Arthur Machen, but creating work of great originality.
Campbell is a rightful tenant of M.R. James' country, the genuine badlands of the human psyche. Norman Shrapnel in The Guardian.
Campbell's misclassification as a genre writer obscures his status as the finest magical realist Britain possesses this side of J.G. Ballard. Daily Telegraph.
In Ramsey's own words, Poe and Le Fanu refined the Gothic novel, rendering it terser and more psychologically focused, and at a greater length. Mary Shelley was equally responsible for inventing modern horror and aligning it with science. M.R. James stripped Le Fanu's methods to their absolute essence, developing his own genius for the spectrally suggestive phrase or sentence.
Writers such as Walter de la Mare and Lovecraft learned from Poe. Arthur Machen and Algernon Blackwood reached for awe in their finest work and produced a special kind of terror still unequalled. Lovecraft subsumed the influence of writers such as Blackwood and Machen, as well as that of his American predecessors.
Fritz Leiber united the traditions of M.R. James and Lovecraft, while Shirley Jackson remains unsurpassed for subtle dread, often close to indefinable. T.E.D. Klein does too, but Machen also comes to the fore in some of T.E.D's finest work. Robert Eichmann demonstrated that enigmas can be more satisfying than any explanation, and Stephen King rediscovers Poe for our time and pursues his own themes, not least the notion of malevolent chaos.
S.T. Joshi said in Flame Tree's live and spooky interview last year with Ramsey, "Lovecraft was my focus for a good many years. He just fascinated me for a long time and still does. But through Lovecraft I went to other writers like Stoker, Arthur Machen, Lord Dunsany, Algernon Blackwood, and not least Ramsey Campbell himself. I've done as much study of Ramsey's work as I can, and it's such an incredibly rich body of work." A historical monument that gives the Fellstones its name proves to have been the work of an occultist centuries ago. When Dunstan is called back to Fellstones by his adoptive parents to take part in the village festival, he begins to recapture memories that remind him of why he fled. And gradually he learns the purpose of the stones, all of which may be too late to save him from their influence. The Fellstones dream, but they're about to waken.